All right, so everyone, let's kick off our meeting for the Community Preservation Commission. Sorry. Let me read the little preamble. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law, consistent with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. And Jamie, I think I got to do a roll call, right? Of who's attending?
Yes, we do.
Okie dokes. So me, Pam Toby, Carrie McKenna, Bob Whitmarsh. Oh, do we need to do here? I'm sorry. I just jumped the gun.
Typically people respond with here. Yes.
Okay. Well, Pam Toby here. Carrie McKenna.
Here.
Bob Whitmarsh.
Here.
Hank McCarl.
Here.
Matt Lundberg.
Here.
And Jennifer Lee Levitz Arnson.
Here.
Hello. All right. So we have kind of an important meeting today. Just jump right into the applications for discussion and hopefully vote to get it wrapped up. We're going to go, and I have it in the order that they were posted on the website, but I believe it's alphabetical on Neighborly as well. So to kick it off, we'll start with Annisquam Village Church. Last time we reviewed what Matt and I had talked to Chip Payson about around the issue of the church and CPC funding. Oh, Heidi, do you have a question?
I just was here and you
Oh,
didn't
okay.
call
Sorry.
my
Oh, I'm
name.
sorry, Heidi.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I was
Well,
like, I
Heidi's
think
here.
I'm there. Okay.
So Annisquam Village Church, does anyone have any questions? Was there anything that anyone wanted to talk about the project? I think we're all kind of fairly well versed in the program at this point. But does anyone have anything they want to add before we kind of tackle votes? Anything?
I'd only like to say a couple of quick things. I was very happy to get Chip's input into the project. I think it's always good to be sensitive about government separation from church or religious issues, and his review of the application was very satisfactory to me, and the project looks great. So I just wanted to say that for the record.
Awesome. So anything else, or do we want to just jump into voting on it? Okay. So they're asking for $15,000 from CPA for the total budget of $48,199. So would anyone like to make a motion on the award or the recommendation?
I'll make a
I
motion.
move. Okay.
I make
Okay,
a
so-
motion
I'll
that we approve the application for the Annisquam Village Church for $15,000.
And Hank, you second. So we'll do a roll call. Jamie, do you want to do the roll call or do you want me to?
I am happy to, because then I can do it in the order I have it on my spreadsheet.
Perfect. There you go.
Thank you. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes.
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
and Bill is absent. Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll move on to First Parish Burial Ground, the gravestone restoration project. They are asking for $9,800, which is 100% of their budget. I think, again, we're all pretty well versed at this point. It's to restore 9 gravestones, I believe. And they're going to be working closely with the DPW. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to talk about before we move forward on this one? No? Okay.
Jennifer may have a question.
You have one?
I saw Jennifer's thing come on. I thought maybe
Oh,
she had. a
Jennifer,
question.
do you have a question?
No, I don't. I'm in the car, so heaven
Oh.
knows what could happen. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I'll
no,
be
it's
home
okay.
as soon as I
Okay.
can.
Okay.
This
Wait,
is,
dedication.
this is not the first time we've had requests from First Parish. And it's, it's nice that they are doing those things because nobody else is looking after that cemetery since it's been closed for a long time. So I think it's a good project. It's well thought out, and I would like to move that we approve that grant.
Okay, for the amount, for the
Yes,
9,800?
that's true.
Okay.
Yes,
And
I
anyone want a
second.
second?
I'll
Awesome.
second.
Great. Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Of course. Thank you. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes.
Hank,
yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have the Gloucester 400th application. This is for the restoration and digitization of a few items. They are asking for $49,405, I believe. I know last time, I know that I raised some questions around some eligible things on their budget sheet. I think, Matt, I didn't know if, did you connect with them about some of the questions that we had at the last meeting?
I did not, Pam.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but so I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts. I still think that maybe we could apply some of the funding to those other two restoration pieces on the budget sheet. But I don't know if anyone else has any comments. Also, sorry, my husband's cleaning up toys.
Yeah, my only comment, and Jamie, this is a comment and a question for you. I'm thoroughly in favor of this project. I think it's really a good use of CPA funds. My question is that if there's any issue at all with the categorization of funds relative to the CPA itself, I think there is plenty of room to rebudget if necessary. So if this is challenged in any way by anybody after we might approve this, can we update the application to address that?
Sorry,
Sorry
I'm
to
being
put you
very
on.
thoughtful about this response. I don't think there's a way to update the application. I think if we are careful in the way we draft the language in the contract
Yes.
and restrict it to, like preservation and
Right.
restoration of historical documents in support of the Gloucester 400th,
Mhm.
right? And make sure that the language specifically leaves out digitization,
Right.
And when we draft the contract, we can take the budget and say, because we do that sometimes, right? If somebody asks for 100,000 and your committee says, we're going to only recommend 50,000, then we say, this is the piece of this project that we want this funding to go to. So we can certainly work with the applicant to focus their budget that becomes part of their contract and that scope of work.
Got it.
And to kind of meet the dollar amount. And if we don't end up meeting the dollar amount, like the award is always up to a certain amount, so that, gives them some room. And when I was looking today, I was drafting up the memo for the mayor's packet, and there really was a lot of information and a breakdown of the digitization versus the restoration and preservation costs.
Right.
So I am, more hopeful that their budget really, like, there could be a significant impact from the CPA for that portion of their budget.
Right. And in fact, there's a very clear path on doing this through the language in the contract. I think it's a simple one. So I'm satisfied and I support the project.
Anyone else?
I would too second what what Matt is saying, that I fully support this project. I think it's a great idea and am absolutely in favor of it. So I'm hoping that we can figure out how to make it happen for them.
So Jamie, would that be like a motion kind of saying I approve this amount contingent upon like a certain kind of language in the contract, or is it just approve the amount and then we reword the contract?
It's kind of up to you. I think as like a cover your bases, I would put
Yeah.
it in the motion.
Okay.
And and that kind of empowers whoever's administering it to say this really was clearly the intent of the committee was, to support this project only for restoration and preservation activities related to historical, something like that. It does kind of just cover your bases and support the argument that really, no, you did take a look at this and you saw digitization. Sorry, I trip over that word every time.
It's a tough one.
Digitizing records was part of the project, but that was not the intention of the use of funds. So that would be my recommendation, is to try to put that language in the vote somehow, and then we'll really flush out the more details in the contract.
Okay. Does anyone feel comfortable making that motion or?
Yes, I make a motion that we approve this project and the requested amount of, oh gosh, hold on.
4905.
Thank you. $49,005. Contingent upon this committee reviewing the draft agreement before it gets submitted to the applicant, so that we can ensure that monies are properly allocated upon budget line items.
Okay, does
I'll
anyone want to
second.
say? Awesome.
I second, yeah.
Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Yes, sorry, I just had to finish capturing all the language.
Oh, no, that was a good motion. It took a minute.
Thanks,
It was,
Jamie.
it was a good motion. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's much easier when there's like a clear motion as opposed to backing out. No, we're changing that. So thank you. So roll call vote on the motion currently on the floor. Pam Toby,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right. Next up was the Gloucester Meeting House. They are requesting, sorry, I gotta get in there. They are requesting 130,000. It's 38% of their budget for restoration to the green and the entrance. I know last meeting, we had some members of the public join and make some comments. I don't know if everyone saw the email chain that Jamie circulated from Charles around the issue. I thought it kind of tackled, a little bit of everything. I don't know if anyone had any questions or thoughts on it.
it's clearly not in support of their religious activities. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
I think that to me, the important thing here is that they've consistently differentiated between the Meeting House Foundation and the Universal Unitarian Church. And that the Meeting House Foundation has no religious affinity to any religious activities that take place in the property. And I think that's really important with respect to the project. To me, the concerns of the neighbors, I understand their concern. I don't think their concern warrants disapproval or modification of this application. I think the application is sound, and I don't think if there are issues that the neighbors have with the Meeting House Foundation and the activities that they're under, those should be addressed in zoning or other parts of government or through their city council person. I'm comfortable in supporting this project.
Yeah. Anyone else? I mean, I agree with Matt. I think that there's many other avenues to kind of address the issues of the neighborhood, and and I don't think it really impacts this application. So
Well,
anyone have any?
this project, it doesn't involve the complaints that the neighbors had. The neighbors have, you know, a totally different thing. It's not an objection to this particular project. It's just general complaints that they have about various things.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I thought, I mean, I think the one complaint they have that is maybe project related, Hank, is that on the completion of the project, they may be able to host larger and more events.
oh,
That
yeah.
it might increase the noise and disturbance in the neighborhood. And again, I don't think that's, I mean, that's true today to a certain extent. I don't know if they're going to be able to host more people than they do now because of the project. And again, I think that's a zoning or a city council person issue.
And Jamie, the city council, they have a public comment too, when they take up our recommendations, right? So anyone that has
Yes,
a community issue, they'll raise it there as well, right?
Correct.
they want
There's an advertised public hearing in
Okay.
which supporters and opponents of any of the recommendations are unable to speak.
Okay, and so they'll have an opportunity to raise their concerns again there. But I think, I mean, maybe at this point we've taken them in and we've kind of addressed them. So I would feel comfortable moving forward with this application as well, if the committee is. So does anyone have any other questions, or does anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the Meeting House application as put forth, as is. Is there more to say?
Just for 130,000, maybe we put the amount.
Okay.
So yeah, there we
Yes,
go.
please, for the 130,000. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second Jennifer's motion.
Awesome. Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Of course. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes, my Wi-Fi could go out any second, so if you don't hear
Yeah.
from me for about 10 minutes, I'm still in.
Okay.
thank you for the warning.
Thank you.
Hank, yeah, Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes,
Carrie.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Hammond's Castle. This is some work on the archways in 3 locations. They are asking for $110,000. It's 50% of their total budget. I believe last time we did raise some concerns about the frequency of maybe applications from the organization. I don't know if anyone had any questions following up on that discussion, or if anyone had any thoughts, but I mean, I support this application. I think Hammond's Castle is an institution in town. I mean, I think of like all the photos and everything I've seen of those archways. So, but I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts. No? Okay, does anyone want to make a motion? Do we want to just move ahead?
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget for the arches at the Hammond Museum for, what was the amount?
110,000.
110,000.
Does anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Second the motion.
Love it. And then Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Of course. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee. Oh, we had her a second ago.
I-
Jennifer Lee,
lost her Wi-Fi.
all right, I'll keep going and come back when we get to the end of the roll. Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Matt,
yes,
Carrie,
Yes.
okay, Jennifer Lee, I don't know how to record. If
um,
I know.
is it like an abstention? Do
I
we,
think it's like an abstention, but I'm gonna do a quick search.
I think I think you just reported not voting.
Oh, she's gone now. She left.
okay, we can figure that out later. I just
Okay.
didn't know if there was like a process to come back to it or,
There is a process, so I think we're okay to
She's
vote.
back, she's back,
Ah,
she's back.
but muted.
She's muted at the moment, but she's online.
Jennifer Lee, are you there?
It says she's there, but it's muted.
Right.
Hold on.
There she
Oh, here
is.
we go.
Is that okay? Okay, yes. I said yes. I said yes.
You said yes.
excellent, thank you.
That was a great entrance. I really liked that. All right, well, moving along then, to Ocean Alliance. This is for the, they're asking for $151,500, 57% of, their application. This is for the engineering and environmental permit, kind of process. I don't know if anyone had any questions. Matt, I believe last time you raised an interesting point around the business kind of side of it. Instead of, is this really historical? Was this going to be used for historical preservation? So I don't know if anyone had any thoughts. No?
I'll offer up something.
Okay.
I've thought a lot about this project
Mhm.
because, as I said, I had some hesitations. But at the end of it, the paint factory is clearly an historic asset that I think should be preserved in the city of Gloucester. It's an important part of our landscape and our history. And I think, I mean, most everybody in the city is really happy that Ocean Alliance has invested so much time into it. My only concern is what it's going to be used for, but I love what it's going to be used for too. And with respect to the end result of the project is preservation of an historic entity in our city. So I'm in support of it. My only other comment is that I think it's the largest project we're funding this round, and it's a majority of the funding that they're budgeting for this project, and they have stated why, in that this unlocks future funding. I think the only comment I'd like to make is that I think we need to make it clear to Ocean Alliance is that this is not a template for a repetitive project request. Our understanding is that this unlocks other funding mechanisms that they have in the future for their substantial projects that they have in mind. And we support that, but that is the length of our support. So any other additional requests that they might make to the CPC, I think, is going to get a more critical eye. That's my opinion. I just was interested in what other people felt as well before we took a vote.
So are you saying that you would not want to see them apply again for CPC funding for any part of what they're doing?
No, I'm happy to see an application. I just, I would look at it very carefully. Not that we don't look at any application carefully, but their explanation of their goals and how they plan to pursue them indicates that future projects are going to be funded by sources alternate to the CPC. So if they come back to us, I think it's really important for us to ask the question, why?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I'm a huge fan of this project and would absolutely support it and would hope to see it come to be one day. And I mean, I think that's a very fair thought process on your part, Matt. I don't think there's a problem there that for them to explain why. I mean, who knows? Right now, I know that they feel that they can get 10 million. At least when I went on the site walk with them, Ian had said that they have the funding there, and assuming that's still there, and they get permitted, they should be all set. So I mean, I think that's fair. If for some reason it's not there, they can explain what happened.
All right. Anything else, or does someone want to make a motion, or?
I'll make a motion, we approve the funds for the Ocean Alliance for, what's the amount on that one?
$151,500.
$151,500.
Okay, does anyone
I'll
want a second? Awesome, Carrie. And then Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Of course. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Did we lose her? I don't
Jennifer-
see her, so,
She's still on my
Oh.
screen, but probably ought to continue.
okay. Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes,
Carrie.
Yes.
Thank you.
all right, moving along to the Sawyer Free Library project. This is for the structural engineer, mural conservation, and masonry timber frame work. They are asking for $81,697. It is 50% of their budget. I don't think we had any questions on this one last time. I think it's pretty straightforward. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts on this before we move ahead?
Let's do it.
And we're just whipping through them. I like it. I like the enthusiasm. Does anyone want to make a
Can I-
motion? Oh, sorry, Jennifer Lee, go ahead.
I just, not about this. I missed the vote on the last one. If I could at some point vote on the last one or add my vote to the last one.
Jamie, is that something we can do, or should we circle back on that afterwards?
Oh, yeah, after.
I really have no idea what the parliamentary procedure on that would be. Sorry, it's a totally new
think-
scenario for me.
Yeah, I don't think right now, but
Okay.
before the end, can we address that? Thank you.
So does anyone want to make a motion on the Sawyer Free Library project?
Oh,
I'll be happy to make that motion.
All right, so you approve them for the 81,697? Okay, someone want a second?
I second it.
Awesome. Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Yes. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes. Thank
Hank?
you.
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
yes,
Matt.
Or you're
Sorry,
muted,
you're
Matt.
muted. Sorry.
yes,
Thank you. It always takes me a second because I'm not looking at your faces when I do the roll call. Carrie,
Yes.
thank you.
Alrighty, on to the Schooner Adventure. This is for the rudder work. They are asking for $10,000. It is 40% of their budget. Did anyone have any questions on this one? Nope. Okay, does anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the funding for Schooner Adventure in the amount of
$10,000.
$10,000.
There we go. Does anyone want a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Sure, you all are moving so fast. It's hard for me to like keep up.
I know, I feel like that last meeting, we really like dug through the weeds of them, so we're ready to go.
Okay, so on the motion currently on the floor, Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yeah,
Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
yes,
Matt,
yes,
Carrie,
Yes,
thank you.
All right, and then I believe this is the last one. The trustees application for Ravenswood parking improvements. They're asking for $37,700, which is 63% of their budget. I don't believe we had any questions after the last meeting. Did anyone have anything they want to raise now, or any thoughts?
There again, I think the neighbors were asking questions that really weren't relevant to the project. They were concerned about various things associated with people using the area, but it didn't really affect the project at all.
I think last time Heidi raised a really good point about like all like the cross country team goes there. Everyone goes there. So I think it's a great project, and I mean it makes sense. It's a safety thing. It's ADA
Right.
thing. So I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts, or if someone wanted to make a motion.
I'll move to, I forgot my words. I move to, I make a motion to approve funding for trustees of reservations in the amount of $37,700.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second that.
Great. Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Sure thing.
Cool.
Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes,
Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Carrie,
yes.
thank you.
All right. So I think that's all the applications, unless I've missed one. Yes,
Um,
Matt.
If I may add something, back with when Jennifer Lee was offline, I've been hunting around because I think I knew the answer to this, but I'd forgotten it. Back when I joined up in March, Chip Payson and Nicole Kaiser put together a little training session on holding public meetings remotely and how to handle this kind of stuff. And I finally found the email. And I'm going to read you all the section that Chip had said, procedures should you experience technical difficulties. If one or more board or commission members are unable to access the meeting during a video conferencing platform, then the meeting shall continue provided there is still a quorum, and those board or commission members who are unable to access the meeting, should they return to the meeting, shall not vote on the matter being considered at the time they lost access. So I think that means that the vote that we took stands, and we don't have to revote or ask Jennifer. Well, Jennifer Lee cannot vote because she wasn't online at the time.
sounds great. Thank you.
Well, just so you know, it passed, so we approved that one. So I don't,
Yes.
just, so for peace of mind for you.
It saved me the horror of possibly abstaining.
But there you go.
So thank you. It's perfect.
All right, so the next thing on the agenda is to talk about in-person meetings. At our last meeting, we made the decision to hold this one remote and then kind of circle back. I got a call from the mayor's office. They reiterated that they would like us to be in person next month. In the ideal world, I don't know if Jamie has received more information about locations or kind of procedure around masks or enforcement and around that stuff. I don't know. I kind of wanted everyone to be able to raise their concerns, see where you all are at around meeting in person. I do want to note the open meeting law does allow for remote meetings until spring of 2022, I believe, right, Jamie?
Correct, April
It
2022.
is April. It is April 2022. Yeah.
Yeah, Bob.
oh, wait.
I would like to make a
Right.
comment. I would like to make a comment.
Yeah.
The planning board voted at its last meeting to continue virtual meetings until April 2022. That was out of courtesy to one of our members who is undergoing chemotherapy and has heightened problems with the potential exposure to it in the in-person meetings. And so that we felt that out of courtesy to allow that particular individual to participate, that we should continue to do our meetings virtually. So I just wanted to add that in there. I don't know just why, unless there's some major question about the large number of people that want to show up to talk to the group, that we should necessarily have to have an in-person meeting.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
I
Is
have,
there any reason why the mayor's office is asking or suggesting that we get in person? I'm curious to know why they seem to be headed that way.
I think I don't want to. This is my interpretation. I think that they kind of want to get government and boards and commissions up and running and kind of back to where they were before COVID. Hank, I know that the planning board, and I believe there's one other commission that is kind of holding out on the, so it's three, it's us, Hank, the planning board, and then one other commission that's currently still meeting remotely. But it just kind of seems like it just seems like they want to get government up and running again.
It's arbitrary.
when was that request made?
So I got a call in Tuesday. I can't remember. It was last week. It was last Tuesday. I got a phone call about it. think.
They're starting to clamp down a little on some more with more restrictions. I'm surprised at that request.
Yeah, so actually, Pam, to be clear, they had made a separate request like 3 months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago. And we did talk about it briefly in a previous meeting. And the city had said, we'd like to return to in-person meetings. And we said, great, we'll talk to our commission about it. And at the time, for me personally, I said, great. I mean, I'd love to see everybody in person. Times change. I mean, we're in a very fluid environment right now. And in my opinion, I think we all benefit from seeing other human beings in person. And we don't have to go into all that. But for the work that we do, I think we can do this work remotely. And I think there's risk still with the current state of the Delta variant and still developing knowledge about where that sits and the development of what happens with booster shots. So I think it's prudent to not, in my opinion, to not meet in person. I might feel differently if our business was such that we had to meet in person because there were people coming before our boards frequently, like the Traffic Commission, for example. I mean, people come there for a reason, but I don't feel strongly either way, but I totally understand keeping our meetings virtual. If, even there's one person on this committee that chooses to do so.
Well, I think what we should say is, when they take all the restrictions off at City Hall for the public meetings, we'll go back to consider in-person meetings. And if they're not going to take them off at City Hall, we continue to meet virtually. And I would move that we continue to meet virtually until the restrictions are lifted by the city government for their operations at City Hall.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is there any contingency whereby at City Hall, there could be a Zoom setup so that people who want to be there in person to address the committee and don't have their own way to do Zoom or are not comfortable doing it in any way, or so that City Hall would be as if we were sitting in City Hall, but what is in City Hall is a setup where people can address in person as if Do you know what I'm trying to say?
You know, I understand you. So kind of like if what our computer is showing, but in a room in City Hall. So everyone, if someone doesn't have access to Zoom, they could go to
Right,
City Hall
they
to
could-
be a part of
right.
the Zoom.
They
I don't
wanna
know
go
the
to-
answer to that. Jamie might have some thoughts on that.
My motion was not to have in-person meetings, but to continue to have virtual meetings until City Hall removes all of the restrictions
Mhm.
that they have related to the COVID. That's my
Okay.
motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so does that, Jamie, do we need a second on that and then we go into discussion, or how do we, I don't, this is the first
Yeah, I
time.
think we need to discuss a little bit more.
Yeah.
So should we do that?
Go ahead
before?
and second the motion. We can talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, you can second the motion, have the discussion, and then amend
And
the
then-
motion prior to
Okay.
voting.
And
Okay.
vote.
Okay, so does anyone want to second that motion?
A second.
Okay, all right, so discussion. So I don't know the answer to your question, Jennifer Lee. Jamie might. Jamie, do you have any thoughts on that? Like if that's capability or a thought, just to kind of add to that comment. I don't know if anyone really wants to meet in person, but if there were a couple board members that did want to meet in person, I didn't know if there was an ability to have other board members participate remotely and vote. I don't know what the rules are on that piece. I can't remember. If so, I mean, I don't know if those are questions you can answer, Jamie, or if maybe we have to come back to them, but.
I
I
can
have
provide,
that same question.
can provide a certain degree of insight.
Mhm.
So hybrid meetings are something that the city is building up capacity for.
Okay.
The logistics of having enough rooms available for all the boards and commissions that meet with any regularity, and the capacity for staff to manage and maintain the
Mhm.
technology for hybrid meetings. I think we're still a little far away from that being feasible. Certainly not for the next October meeting.
Okay.
There is some work being done to make that an option, but
Mhm.
the logistics on how it would, like how do you advertise the meeting? For, like you said, voting, things like that, there's still some stuff to work out. Like Kairos Auditorium hybrid meetings it's not really an option when you think about the acoustics, right? There's no
Mhm.
way that you could have that place wired in such a way that everybody could actually hear comfortably if they're participating remotely. So, and then we run into still those questions of, okay, so if we're having a hybrid meeting and we hit capacity of the room that people are in, what do we do?
Mhm.
Right. So for me on my end, there are still a lot of questions about, your committee is lucky that you're staffed. So, you have a little bit more support, but who's responsible for, like Hank pointed out that the city government, when we're inside city facilities, everyone's required to wear a mask regardless of vaccination status. So who's responsible for enforcing participants be masked? Right. And what do we do if somebody refuses? Or, there's still a lot of questions that no guidance has been issued to boards or staff. So to answer the hybrid, yes, that's in theory an option. In practice, we're still a little far away from that. And there really has not been significant guidance for the city employees who staff the boards and commissions, how to actually go back in person. And there certainly has not been a question on space. Like space is limited. It's even more limited than it was pre-COVID. So there are still a lot of questions that we don't have answers to.
Carrie, I think you had a comment at one point. I'm sorry. I think I cut you
Yeah,
off.
what I was going to say was it does not make sense to me to even think about going back in person right now, given the trajectory we seem to be going with the Delta variant. I can tell you that in my day job, I do event planning for the Chamber of Commerce, and I've worked hard to change as many events as I can for this month and next month to be outdoors. And even with that, we're getting companies saying they can't come to them because the edict is coming down from the top that they're not allowed to go to events. And so just for that reason alone, yes, we're still holding events, but I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to do that for. And quite honestly, it's a bit uncomfortable. We were in Manchester last night at an event indoors, and they have a mandate for wearing masks. And it was hard and it was awkward, and some people had masks on and some did not. And the person who was the business owner was freaking out because not everybody had a mask on. So I just don't see, it just doesn't make sense to me right now to be voting tonight and saying, yes, let's go back in person. I want to go back to in person. I can't wait to go back to in person for everything that we do. I just don't think that time is here yet. So it just does not make sense to me to even think about going back in person right now. And I'm surprised to hear that City Hall is still pushing for that.
I want to add on a little bit, not so much on the COVID situation. I think that we have been incredibly efficient and really successful on the remote platform. I think we just got through all of our applications really fast. I think that the public has been participating more than in person. I think that we have some people in person every once in a while, but we don't normally, I mean, from my experience, I don't remember seeing people from neighborhoods join or other members of the public. So I think that I think made it a little bit more accessible for people. It's made it a lot more accessible for me as a mom, as a new mom, and it makes it a lot easier to join. So, I mean, on top of the health stuff, I think that there's a lot of benefits to the remote and, technology options. So I do want to raise that point, Oh, Jennifer Lee, yeah.
Well, I would just like to say that I'm not crazy about the wording of this motion. I don't know.
I'll accept
about
any
you about
amendments
that.
you want to give, gentlemen.
I would amend to take out when City Hall does, however you worded that thing by saying when City Hall does it, we'll do it. I think that we can just say that we don't want to go back yet without saying whatever.
Can we
Okay.
say that we'll
I'll
revisit
accept
it
that
Monday?
as a friendly amendment.
Thank you. Not that I disagree with it. I just don't think it needs to be in the motion.
That's fine.
Perhaps
Matt, you
we
gotta
say that
accept
we-
that second amendment.
All right, so
Seconded the motion.
do we need to restate this motion or can I?
No, I
accept-
think just leave that part of it out. Be fine.
So just to be clear, what exactly is it that we are motioning
We're
to
gonna
do?
continue to have virtual meetings
Right,
Until further notice.
until
we
further
decide.
notice.
Okay.
seconded.
Okay. Any other discussion, or do we want to do a roll call? Anything else from anyone? All right, Jamie, do you want to do a roll call?
Sure.
Okay.
So on the motion as it has been amended, how do you vote, Pam?
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes,
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes,
Carrie.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that's that. So our next meeting on October 19th will be remote. Does anyone have anything else they want to
I
talk
have
about?
a very minor housekeeping item. As I usually do in these meetings, I usually pull up the CPC page on the City of Gloucester website. And I just noticed, Jamie, that it says Jennifer's term expiration is February 14th, 2021. Can we fix that?
Was reappointed. I did not perform brilliantly. I may have rescinded it. I don't know, but at my hearing, I was really terrible.
So if you guys could just take care of that, that'd be great.
And yeah, thank you. I was.
So-
reappointed.
So you were
Rude.
reappointed through when?
a routine reappointment.
I
Should
don't
be
know.
2 years, so 2023.
I would think
Let's try
2023.
for that. That's a better try than 21.
I can certainly update that. And thank you. I always appreciate when you all take the time to help us correct those things.
Great.
Is Jennifer at large or from one of the organizations?
I'm from the Housing Authority.
Well, the Housing Authority has to make the proposal to keep you on there.
Oh, but I was approved.
Very good. That's
We
all I
believe
need to
you.
hear.
I was approved. I have a postcard from the mayor.
Very good.
Excellent.
Heidi, did you have?
Yeah, did
Oh,
you have
sorry.
something, Heidi?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I hope that people were able to see the cannon at Stage Fort Park
We
during
certainly heard it
Scooter
all over the
Festival.
city.
Mhm.
Because I was actually talking to Laura Ventimiglia from the Gloucester 400 about the cannon, and I said, "Oh my God, I've listened to this and I've talked about it, and there it is. Like, it was the fruition of the work that we have done for this project." So I loved being at the Schooner Festival, and I really loved well, I was at the Ocean Alliance visiting a schooner, but that cannon was something that we had our hand in, and Laura was very grateful. And also, I hope that people had a chance to see that and not just hear it.
There were
Yeah.
people all over the city that were questioning what the booms were, what
Yeah.
the explosions were.
That's all I have to say.
Right, anything else, or do we, I can't remember, I know I do this every time. Do we need a roll call to adjourn or a
Well,
motion to adjourn?
before we motion to adjourn,
Yes,
because I know you all have been very eager with the motions.
we're fast.
I forgot to put on the administrator update on this, and I did not on the agenda, and I forgot to put voting on the minutes on the agenda. So I will have these minutes prepared in time for the October meeting if we want to vote on both sets then. I don't know if that's a type of item that we could add now. I can leave, like, voting on the minutes from last month. I don't know if that's something we could add now and discuss.
To be safe, I would
Mhm.
say, put it on the agenda for next month, Jamie, that we will vote to approve, the minutes from August 3rd and the minutes from tonight.
Okay.
Just because it
that.
wasn't on the agenda, I don't know if we can take it up properly.
Yes, I
You
think when I
shouldn't
posted
say
the
we
agenda.
vote to approve, and it's basically vote on
Yeah.
whether it needs to be amended or anything else. I mean, it's
Right.
Okay, so I'll put those on the agenda for the next time. And I had a note, I got a call from David Dow about the Stage Fort Park actual landscaping application. They're eager to get that in off cycle. I mentioned that we still don't have a plan in hand, and that was kind of the holdup from the last time. As far as the plan project goes, I've only seen, I think this next one will be the third invoice from Beta, and it looks like they've only really built out 25, maybe 30% of the project. So he's looking for some guidance about whether they should get an application in now or if they should wait until the design plan is in hand.
Well, personally, I don't think I'd want to review that without the design plan, right? I mean, that's the purpose, we should have it. Am I misunderstanding?
Nope, that's fully my instinct, but I didn't want to give that feedback without confirming that that's how the committee felt, right? That was certainly 100% my understanding, but I wanted the confirmation from everyone that the landscaping piece was put off and separated from the design plan so that you could have the design plan in hand to make a decision about the landscaping application.
Yes.
That was my understanding.
Got it.
So could I
Okay.
ask a question about off-cycle applications and what that really is, and how many do we accept? Do we always accept, or what? I don't know what that is.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to try and answer. Or Jamie, you go. You take this one.
So I would say the original intention of allowing off-cycle applications was to facilitate applications that have external factors that can't be controlled, like housing rehab. If a property comes up for sale outside of the normal cycle, did I say housing rehab? Affordable housing. Sorry, I'm mixing up all my roles. Affordable housing, purchasing, or like Action Inc.'s tenant-based rental assistance, which came up because of COVID.
Or the Hammond Castle Clara Street, which if it
Yeah.
didn't get fixed right away, it was going to be a disaster.
Yeah, so like unforeseen emergencies and things like that was really the intention. There's been a couple of projects, and really off cycle is fully at the discretion of the committee, right? Typically, my suggestions when people come to me, I say, give me a little bit of an understanding of the project. I'll go to the committee and ask if they're willing to accept an off cycle application, unless it's a very clearly like, yes, put an application together and I'll put it in front of the committee. So there's been a couple where when people come in with applications, there's a piece that isn't quite ready enough for the committee to make a decision about funding. And they've been offered, they've been kind of extended the option to come back off cycle once that piece is resolved. For instance, you all dealt with the City Hall restoration where there wasn't really enough information about how it would be bonded, how it would impact the current bond. And so once they wrapped up those and came back, then it was voted on off cycle. So there are sometimes those instances where an application comes in front of you, you don't want to just give it a negative recommendation without the option to come back. So they're really at the discretion of the committee. They're intended to address emergencies or unforeseen
Okay.
circumstances.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything else, Jamie, or anything else from anyone on the committee? All right,
Move
so
to
again, oh
adjourn.
yeah, Hank. Oh, there we go. Can we get a second? Do we need a
Second.
second? Okay, and then a roll call.
Sorry. Pam,
Yes.
Jennifer Lee,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes.
Heidi,
Yes.
Bob,
Yeah, yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
Excellent. I will see you all in October. I'll send the recommendations to the city council and give you an update on what that schedule is supposed to be.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jamie. Keep up the good
Thank you,
work.
Jamie.
And
Thank you.
before we adjourn, just a quick one, Jamie, so the next step is this goes to budget and finance?
So I put it in the mayor's packet to go to city council. It goes to city council and gets referred to budget and finance.
Got it.
So that'll be the next step.
Perfect.
All righty. See you guys in October.
Great to
Thank
see you,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.